Why did a Polish-Lithuanian army have to save Vienna and all Europe? Not once, but twice. What were the Germans in all this? Did the Poles manage to keep Protestants out of their country? What led to the decline of the most powerful state in Eastern Europe? I'm Professor Jerome Arkenberg, and I'll answer these and other questions right after this. Hi, Professor Ark here, and I've been teaching a wide variety of history courses at colleges across the country for the past 30 years. In this video, I'm going to tell you about why the Poles and Lithuanians joined to become one country, what was the Liberum Veto and why it was adopted, and how Polish-Lithuanian armies managed to save Vienna not once but twice from the Ottoman threat. At the end, I'll have the wrap-up quote on this video. But first, make sure to click like, share, and subscribe, and that little bell thingy, so I can continue to bring you more great videos just like this one. In 1515, Zygmunt the Old, who reigned in 1506 to 1548, king of Poland, Lithuania, Bohemia, and Hungary, was the most powerful monarch in Eastern Europe. And you see it on here. This is this vast realm. Poland, Lithuania, and it doesn't really show it, but he's also king of all Hungary. This is before the Turks take over. And Silesia and Bohemia. It's vast, powerful country. But unfortunately in that year, 1515, facing wars against the Turks, Russians, and Habsburgs, Zygmunt gave up his claim to Bohemia and Hungary to the Habsburg Emperor Max I for full sovereignty over Prussia, which was kind of a mistake because they never really did have control over Prussia. And then from 1512 to 1522, Zygmunt lost a war to Muscovy, not yet known as Russia, still the Principality of Muscovy, forced to give up Belarus and Smolensk. And then he failed to regain those lands in a second war with Muscovy from 1534 to 1536. By the reign of his son, Zygmunt II August, or Zygmunt August, from 1548 to 1572, Lutheranism and Calvinism had swept into the country and converted many, especially the kingdom's very large German population. Let me see that here. In 1569, threatened by Sweden, Muscovy, and the Turks, the Poles and Lithuanians, after nearly 2 centuries in personal union only, in other words, the King of Poland and the Grand Duke of Lithuania were one and the same person. But they were still 2 separate kingdoms. They finally merged in the Union of Lublin as a constitutional monarchy with a common parliament, administration, military, and court system. On the death of Zygmunt II without an heir, the Poles and Lithuanians elected, and this becomes the norm for Poland and Lithuania, electing their kings. Turns out to be a bad idea. Elected the French king's brother, Henryk. who reigned from 1571 to 1573, to the throne, but only on the condition of complete religious toleration and equality among its Catholic, Orthodox, and Protestant nobility. Now, Henryk hadn't thought he was going to succeed as the King of France, but anyway, Henryk was also forced to grant what is known as the Liberum Veto, which required unanimity on all matters and laws brought before Poland's parliament. This seemed like a good idea at the time. This way, the nobility, and it's only the nobility who go to this parliament, whether they're Protestant or Catholic or Orthodox, can protect themselves and their co-religionists from being dominated or attacked or discriminated against by the other two sides. Unfortunately, the requirement of unanimity meant that only one person had to say no. And that person could have been, maybe was, and often was, bribed by foreign elements. And this effectively paralyzed the government and destroyed the state. Now, as I said, Henryk decided to become King of Poland because he didn't think he was going to inherit the throne in France. But when his brother suddenly died, Henryk abdicated to return to France as its new king, Henry III, which is how the Prince of Transylvania, Stefan Bathory, was elected the King of Poland and reigned from 1573 to 1586. And he successfully defended the country against Muscovite aggression. So he is king of, well, Prince of Transylvania, this area down here. In theory, Prussia is controlled by Poland, not really, but constantly being attacked by the Muscovites. Bathory's death without children brought the Swedish king, Zygmunt Vasa, to Poland's throne, along with the Counter-Reformation and wars with Muscovy, the Turks, and Sweden. Unfortunately, Zygmunt Vasa was Catholic, and when he tried to reconvert the Swedes to Catholicism, they threw him out of the country. As you can find out more about in my video on Swedish and Scandinavian Reformation. Zygmunt, though, remained King of Poland to 1632. During the reign of his son, Wladyslaw IV, who reigned from 1632 to 48, Poland and Lithuania managed to stay out of the 30 Years' War and generally at peace. But unfortunately, during the reigns of his successors, Jan Kazimierz, who reigned until 1668, and Michał Wiśnowiecki, who reigned until 1673, and here's Wiśnowiecki, and here's Kazimierz, Poland suffered repeated disastrous wars with the Turks, Swedes, and Russians, while dealing with destructive peasant and Cossack rebellions. The next king, Jan III Sobieski, who reigned until 1696, put down the peasant and Cossack rebellions, drove out the Turks, and saved Vienna in 1683. And by saving Vienna, he saved all Europe from being conquered by the Turks. But his power was based on his own wealth and prestige, as a Liberum Veto kept government paralyzed. The wrap-up quote. But if the Liberum Veto be abolished, will not the blind, ineffective, thoughtless opinion of a plurality prevail, while the opposition of the few citizens of excellence is neglected, Will not veto or petition be excluded solely by the paucity of the good citizens, with the result that the value of excellence, of prudence, and of reason is totally depleted? If we are left solely to tally the vote, will the result not be that the citizen of the stronger party prevails over the powerless but excellent, the unwise over the prudent, and the corrupt over the just citizen? A.M. Fredro, 1660. Let me know what you think of this quote. Make a comment, good, bad, in the comment section below. Also, what you liked about the video, and what other historical topics or subjects you'd like to see in future videos. Be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe, as it will help me bring you more great videos. And click on that little bell thingy so you'll know when the next History Awaits for No One video is posted. If you want to know more, there are recommended studies on this topic in the description below, along with other ways to connect with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the past.